Sure. Over-reliance on AI systems may lead to a loss of creativity, critical thinking skills, and human intuition. We already see this. You mentioned smartphones, for example, we rely on that's a good example. We rely on smartphones every day to kind of like think for us, right? When we have questions, are we losing our critical thinking skills in that case? So how can we strike a balance between AI-assisted decision-making and human input in order to preserve our cognitive abilities?
Sure. So, there was a time, not too long ago, in the 1970s, when calculators came out. And before that, students at schools, elementary schools, had to learn about basic arithmetic and memorize multiplication tables. And so when the calculator came out, some educators would say, we should ban calculators from schools. Why? Because then the students will learn to multiply using the calculator instead of knowing some of it. Okay, there's some validity to that. But also, you cannot ban calculator from life, from their profession. Maybe for 1 year or something, you say, achieve this without the calculator. But then you have to teach them how to use the calculator properly as an aid, not as a substitute for thinking. Because if you have the ability to do some elementary math, then you're not always dependent. There's an educational program in the Baha'i community known as the Training Institute. It has a global curriculum from the Ruhi Institute. And among the things it does is it teaches you not only to study and analyze, but also to memorize. And some people say, even adults, they say, why do I need to memorize? I am literate, I can read. The difference is this: when you read from a paper, you can mouth the words and maybe you understand the language as well. But when you memorize it, you have internalized it. If you internalize certain ideas and concepts, they will remain with you always, not only when the paper is in front of you. The same thing applies to this question of use of technology. If you learn a little bit of arithmetic, a little bit of mathematics, and then the more complicated mathematics, you can rely on calculators. Now, let's bring that analogy to the 21st century and say, what about the use of AI? AI is of two kinds. We have analytical AI systems who take an image or a text or a voice and analyze it to understand, or to at least to say what is in there. Like typically we have object detection. So a neural network deep learning model, that is an AI model, you can show it a picture of a cat or a dog, and it will tell you by producing a set of numbers or text to say this is a cat or this is a dog. And for the first time in 2012, not such a long time ago, the computers were able to do this image classification better than humans can. And so everybody said, oh, wow, the first time where deep learning was able to show that computers can classify images with the same. Humans have an accuracy of 97% or so, but we can show that the machines can do maybe 99%. Maybe not still 100%, but 99%. Okay, so if that's possible, and the machine is not memorizing, the machine is trained on the data, but it's not memorizing. The machine generalizes the characteristics of the images. So, should I? So that's the analytical AI. Object detection, classification, recognition, face recognition, gait recognition, or recognition of medical images. You can show a mammogram and ask the computer, does this mammogram possibly have a malignant tumor or not? And it will give you the answer with some accuracy that almost approaches the accuracy of a radiologist. But you don't abandon the decision making again to machine. You use it as a tool to improve the efficiency of a radiologist. So one radiologist can now do the work of two radiologists with the help of AI. All right, so then what AI is doing is increasing efficiency. All right, so then the question is this, that's analytical AI. It will impact all jobs, as I mentioned. Now, there is a second type of AI that is called generative. By definition, generative AI makes stuff up. You can write a text, you say, paint a picture or draw a picture um, with a mountain and a river and a tree and a horse. And it will generate an image that is photorealistic. That means human eye cannot tell that this is not a real photograph. A photorealistic image from your prompt. That's why there's a new discipline called prompt engineering. Prompt engineering enables you to how to give good prompts so that these AI models can produce the appropriate images. So given that generative AI, now I can do art with that. I can ask for it to write a poem, to write a play, to draw a scene. And I can even say, do it in the style of such and such a famous painter. Do it in the style of such and such a poet, and so on and so forth. And generative AI is capable of doing that. So I'm giving these examples to emphasize your point that it can, we can outsource our own artistic and creative capabilities to the laptop. Is that a good thing to do? You see, of course it can do it, and there may be some uses for it, but purely, see, the art is a means to communicate what the creator of the art is feeling and sensing and meditating and thinking to another human being. That is the purpose of the art. Now, if it is generated by the computer, who is generating it? There's nobody, there's no meaning conveyed in that. Of course, it can generate a picture because it has seen similar pictures and it has been trained to do that. But that will be an abuse that will stifle the artistic capabilities. And then if we do too much of it, talking about moderation, if we do too much of it, the society becomes accustomed to all these fake images, fake poems, fake stories, fake everything. Life entirely becomes fake. Is that a good thing? So now that we know it's not, we should do it in moderation.